guys, welcome back to Tiece TV. Today I'm going to show you guys how you can use vinyl to renovate things in your home. Now I'm going to take my dresser and make it into this. I'm so excited to show you guys this because you guys have raved about my kitchen makeover, so I wanted to give you guys a little tutorial on how you can do this in your home. Now, I started off by just cleaning off the dresser because I don't want to add the vinyl, and it starts to have like little gunk and little things that might stick up in the vinyl. I don't want that to show. So just cleaning it with some disinfectant or whatever your cleaning supplies will work. But just cleaning it first will definitely help making sure that the vinyl sticks properly. And then I'm just gonna remove my drawers and take off the handles. I'm gonna start off with this first drawer here. So you want to start by measuring the area that you're gonna cover. Now I'm only gonna be covering what you'll be seeing, or what actually I'll be seeing. So I'm just gonna measure the length and the width of the face of the drawer, and I'm just gonna cut out maybe an inch or two over what I measured. I kind of like to make sure I give myself a little bit more wiggle room in case I make a mistake, or maybe I didn't measure a part that I wanted to cover. So you always want to give yourself a couple inches. I honestly give myself at least maybe 2 to 3 inches just to be on the safe side, because it's a lot easier to cut away what you don't need instead of having a smaller piece and you don't have enough to cover up. So I use, of course, my husband's tools. I just honestly took apart some stuff off of his desk just to help me kind of lay the paper flat and a surface to cut on. And I'm using my box cutter knife, well actually my husband's box cutter knife, and I'm just gonna cut off what I measured. Now you don't necessarily need these tools. I just use these because of course my husband has a lot of like handy tools laying around. So you can use the lines that are on the paper. Most of the vinyl do have lines on the back of the paper. I don't know how accurate they are on most of them, but for this one, it is pretty accurate as far as the measurements go. So you just want to make sure that you use something that you can cut as straight as possible. So I'm just gonna lay the paper flat, just making sure that it is gonna cover up the area. And then I'm gonna start by unrolling the sticker or the vinyl little by little. So it's easier to start off with sticking down a portion of the area instead of removing the entire sticker. Because you want to kind of give yourself some time to, if you need to make a mistake, you don't want to have to rip up the entire thing. I like to make sure that my edges are like super on point. I feel like this is vital to making sure that it looks really crisp, really clean, and just professionally done. So I always like to go in with my finger just to make sure I get those creases in, and then I kind of follow through with, I don't know what this tool is called, but I call it like a flat head piece. I don't even know. I don't know what this is called, but I'll make sure I ask my husband, and I'll put it in the link down below so you guys can also get one yourself. I believe he bought it at Lowe's, but it's really inexpensive, and I would prefer using this over using a credit card. I know some people use credit cards, but I feel like this was a lot more easier to manage. So I'm just gonna remove the paper as I go and smooth it out. This helps to make sure that you're not having a whole bunch of bubbles everywhere. So I'm just gonna repeat this process all the way around. I'm just gonna make sure that I kind of crease, the corners, making sure they're pretty perfect. I don't press my nails or the tool too hard when I'm doing the creases, because you could, damage the vinyl, or you can make like a little cut in there. So you wanna make sure that you're applying just enough pressure to make that crease, but not too much to where you're tearing the paper. Now, luckily, this vinyl is actually very, very strong, so it doesn't puncture too easily, but you'll find later in the video that I do end up puncturing an area, so you just kind of want to be careful. Now I'm just gonna take my box cutter knife, and I'm just gonna make a diagonal cut. Since I'm covering a rectangle area, you're gonna wanna make sure that you create diagonal cuts along the corners of your area. So after I make those cuts, I like to kind of go in and just tuck the paper underneath. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're gonna cut away any excess paper that you don't need. As you can see, I'm kind of lifting it up and using my flat tool to lay down this piece. Now this part is really up to you. I kind of just wing it at this point. Of course, you don't want paper on the rails of the dresser. So I just actually make some cuts around the rails so that, or whatever it's called, so that, you know, the paper is not gonna be like jumbled up on that area. And then I'm just gonna cut away any excess paper I don't need. So I gave you guys a little close-up shot so you can see exactly how I'm just cutting off that extra paper. And once again, I'm just kind of winging it. I'm just, you know, tucking and cutting, just making sure that I am, you know, able to lay the vinyl flat. But you want to make sure that you take your time because you don't want to cut away too much and you're not covering your dressers or the area that you need to cover. So as you can see, it's very smooth and very nice. And I'm just gonna speed this up so you guys can see the rest of the drawer. This was a little bit crooked, so I just kind of want to make it straight. It really doesn't matter because nobody will see that part, but for me, I just want to make it straight. Now when you get to the corners, you just want to make sure that you take your time here, and I kind of just cut off any of the excess pieces, and I make sure I'm not cutting it too much so that the whole corner is covered. And that's it. It's really simple, guys. So now I've already did the other drawer. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the actual dresser itself. Now measuring the dresser is a little bit different. So you wanna make sure that you wrap your measuring tape all the way around. You just wanna make sure that you get full measurements of all the areas that you're going to see. Now after I'm done my cutting, it's the same exact process like last time. And I'm gonna place the paper as close to the edge as possible. And I'm gonna use my tool just to make sure I flatten that part. But you wanna first make sure that you're covering all areas first before you stick the paper on. And then from there, it's kind of like pull and go. Pull and smooth it out. Instead of doing this a diagonal piece, I'm actually going to just cut straight down because I'm not trying to make sure I get a perfect corner coverage. Now, of course, it's going to be the same process like it was before. I'm just cutting away any excess paper that either just won't stick to the dresser or just, you know, any areas that just needs to be exposed. Now when I go and do like the corners, I always like to press down the corners first, and then I kind of use the tool to flatten out any areas that maybe you've created any bubbles or any air bubbles in the paper. And I just kind of take my time just making sure that I crease everything. So once again, this is honestly as I go. I really don't know exactly how you would cut around every single piece, you know, whether you're trying to do it with a different type of furniture, but it's honestly as you go. As long as you take your time with doing this project, this honestly cannot be rushed, but as long as you take your time doing this project, you'll be able to kind of know, you know, what areas you should cut, what you should crease up, what areas you need to just remove. But it's really, really simple, as you know, once you get the hang of it. Now, because the bottom portion of the dresser is a little bit trickier, I wanted to remove the entire paper. Like, I didn't want any extra paper because this would require one long piece. So I just make sure I measured it, of course, cut out the amount that I needed, and I just honestly placed the entire paper on there flat. I kind of got used to sticking the paper down, so I just kind of like put the entire vinyl on there at one time. And then after I smoothed it out, I'm gonna make little creases or little cuts at the bottom because it has that curve. Now this was a little tricky for me because I've never done this part before, but like I said, I just kind of do it as I go. So I noticed that when I make these little cuts, it just helps to kind of bend the paper a little bit better. This will definitely allow you to make sure that the area is really flat and, you know, creased for that U shape. And I just cut away all that extra paper there because honestly nobody will be able to see underneath the dresser. So and for the top of the dresser, I just repeated the exact same process that I did for everything else. Now, since I'm adding different knobs to my dresser, I had to go and use a drill bit to make some new holes. And I got these handles from Lowe's. I wanted to have something that was a little bit more modern, but farmhouse type of look, kind of to make sure that it kind of went with everything else in my house. So I just added those on, and that's pretty much it. Now, this is a very affordable way that you can renovate things in your home, and it takes your look to a whole nother level. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Tiece TV, and also hit the notification bell button so you're notified every time I post a video. And until next time, bye.